So, how do the best leaders make those big calls when the future is, a bit fuzzy? Well, it's about moving past simple what if questions and getting to the real heart of the matter. What are the actual odds? Today, we're going to break down two really powerful tools that help you do exactly that.
All right, picture this. A project proposal lands on your desk. The financial forecast looks amazing. The numbers all add up. It seems like a total slam dunk. It's a green light, right?
But wait a second. Every single forecast, every projection, it's all built on a foundation of assumptions. Assumptions about costs, about prices, about how much you can produce. And you know what? Those assumptions can be wrong. That's where the real risk is hiding.
So, how do we start to get a handle on all this uncertainty? Okay, let's dive into our first tool. It's called sensitivity analysis.
To put it simply, it's a systematic way of playing the what-if game. What if our costs creep up by 15%? What if the selling price for our product drops by 20%? This helps us see which one of our assumptions has the real power to either make the project a huge success or sink it completely.
Let's look at a sample project. Using all our best estimates, the financial model gives us a positive net present value, or NPV, of over 61 million reals. Now, NPV just tells us how profitable the project is in today's money. And on the surface, this looks fantastic.
But we can't just stop there. We've got to find this project's Achilles heel. Which one of these variables, if we get it wrong, could bring the whole thing crashing down?
And this is where a really powerful visual tool comes into play. It turns a complicated spreadsheet full of those what-if scenarios into a single chart that you can understand in like 2 seconds. It's called a tornado chart, and what it does is pretty brilliant, actually. It takes all those variables we're worried about and it stacks them, from the one with the biggest impact right at the top down to the one with the least impact at the bottom. And boom, this chart just makes the biggest risks jump right out at you. See that top bar? Plant scale. It has by far the widest impact on our profitability. That makes it our #1 risk factor. The other variables, things like product price and our costs, both the initial ones, CAPEX, and the ongoing ones, OPEX, they have a much smaller impact.
This gives us some crystal clear takeaways. As the chart showed, plant scale can really move the needle on profit. Product price is another big one. So those are our high-risk variables. But in contrast, our costs have a way smaller impact. In fact, the analysis shows that even a major cost overrun keeps the project in the black. We now know exactly where to focus our attention.
So, we've figured out what to worry about. We know that plant scale and product price are the danger zones. But, that's really only half the story.
And this brings us to a really critical limitation. Knowing that plant scale is a major risk is one thing, but what's the actual probability of it dropping by 30%? Is that a 1 in a million shot or something that happens all the time? Sensitivity analysis, for all its strengths, just can't answer that question. To answer that, we need to bring in the big guns. We need a tool that builds on what we've learned and takes us from just identifying risks to actually quantifying their probability. This gives us a much, much clearer picture of the future. And that tool is the Monte Carlo Simulation. Think of it like a financial time machine. Instead of calculating just one outcome, it explores thousands, even tens of thousands, of possible futures for your project, all at once. So the process is pretty straightforward. First, you use sensitivity analysis to identify which variables matter the most. Second, instead of a single guess, you assign a realistic range of values to each one. Then you let the simulation run thousands of possible futures, mixing and matching all those variables. And finally, you get to analyze that full spectrum of outcomes. And that final step, the analysis, well, that's what leads to the ultimate payoff. This is how you move from making a single, fragile guess to making a confident, data-backed decision. Let's make this real with a new project: building an ethanol plant. After doing our sensitivity analysis, we know the two biggest unknowns are the final construction cost, our capital expense, or CAPEX, and the future price of ethanol, which can be pretty volatile. Now, our initial analysis, that single best guess scenario, projects a really healthy net present value of $87 million. Looks like another easy approval, right? But as we know now, that's just one point in a vast sea of possibilities. The real question we need to ask is, what are the actual odds of this project succeeding given the risks we know about?
So, after running 5,000 different scenarios where construction costs and ethanol prices fluctuate based on their real world probabilities, the Monte Carlo simulation gives us the answer. There is a 98% probability the project will have a positive NPV.
And this right here, this is the incredible transformation in decision-making. We've moved from a single, fragile estimate to a robust statistical understanding of our risk. We've gone from saying, we think it will work, to we are 98% certain it will work. And this is the ultimate takeaway. The decision maker isn't just guessing based on a single outcome anymore. They are armed with the odds. They have a real, quantifiable measure of success, even in the face of risk. And that brings us to the final question, the one these tools are designed to help you answer with real confidence. With a 98% probability of success on the table, what would you decide?